Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Hugo and today we're going to see what's going to be the best stocks for this week. We're going to have a look into 4 stocks, which one is going to be a monthly stock, which I already mentioned several times in this channel, which is a main street capital. So stay around. So the first stock that we have for this week, it's Clearway Energy with the ticker CWEN. They have a dividend yield of 4.37%. They pay quarterly February, May, August and November. And they are undervalued in 80.5%, which is quite undervalued, especially the stock on this industry, which is independent power and producers and energy traders. With at the moment, with the increase of crude and gas, with the war of Ukraine, this has increased quite a lot, and this wasn't affected, but they went down in the past week. They went negative in the past week. And they are starting to see some increase. The ex-dividend is going to be on February 28th, so it's going to be today. We're not going to have time to buy this one in order to process our order. They have a financial health OVG with the assets around 820 million, and in terms of liabilities around 816 million. So it's quite close from assets and liabilities. That's why they have only 1G, but they do also have a really good cash flow. So that's why it's a G, it's not a B or 2 Bs. The market sentiment, we don't have enough data to validate the market sentiments, but I do think we have a buy on this stock because they are undervalued in 80%, and we have a really good future performance with a growth of around 13%. Comparing with the past performance, which was around minus 11%, we're going to have really good potential growth here on this stock. And bear in mind, they are undervalued in 80%, so I do think it's a really nice stock to have on our portfolio, not for this quarter, but at least for the next quarter. Even if you're not going to buy this for the dividends, probably as a growth stock, because they are undervalued in 80%, and I do think it is a really good opportunity to get the stock. Bear in mind that you need also to do your own due diligence to see if this is actually a good stock for you. The next ticker is going to be ABR, Arbor Reality Trust. This is one of the stocks that I already spoke in this channel. They pay quarterly, March, June, September and December, and they are one of the top higher dividend yield payers with a dividend yield of 8.07%. They are in the energy sector, mortgage REITs, and with the diversified finance. I do also have other stocks similar to this one, like Main Street Capital, which also going to pay dividends this week, and others that I have also in my portfolio, which you can check. They are undervalued in 6.7%. The ex-dividend is going to be on the 3rd of March, so we have plenty of time to buy this one. And the financial health is 3Gs, with assets around 13 billion and liabilities around 4 billion. So they have a really good financial health, and we have a market sentiment of a buy. The future growth is going to be minus 1.8%, but I do think the dividend yields will cover this future growth of a negative growth. Since the past performance was quite high with around 36.9%, that's normal that the future growth usually is not going to be so high as the past performance. If the past performance wasn't so good, probably this one will cover. Although with all this crisis that we are in with Ukraine war, this stock is still undervalued in 6.7%. So it's going to be a bit risky, and we're not going to have here too much of margin to grow, since they have a future growth of minus 1.8%. So being undervalued, this corresponds almost as a 5% of being undervalued. So you're going to be buying this stock at the fair value. I don't know if that's going to be your strategy. It's not my strategy. I intend always to buy stocks that are undervalued in order to my portfolio to grow. The next ticker is going to be SU, Suncor Energy Inc. They pay a dividend yield of 4.58%. They pay quarterly, March, June, September and December, and they are undervalued in 65%. This, I do think it's a really nice stock to have on our portfolio, although there's more stocks on this industry and this sector that pay a higher dividend yield than this one, and probably monthly, I think, but that's something that we need to check. The next dividend is going to be on March 3rd, so we're going to have time to buy this one, and we have a financial health of a G, meaning that in terms of liabilities and assets, going to be roughly both in 10 billion in liabilities and in assets. They are quite close, but they have a good financial health. One of the reasons that I put a G is because of their cash flow. They have a lot, so that's why I put it a G. The market sentiment, we have a buy, and the future growth is 25.1%, which is really good comparing to the other stocks that we've seen so far. The past performance was negative with minus 23%, so that's fine. And with the increase of gas and oil, I think this is a good opportunity to buy this stock, because we're going to get here to three things. Actually, we're going to four. One is the dividend yield, which is quite good for 4.58%. We're going to be undervalued 65%. We're going to be buying this stock with a future growth of 25% projection, and also at the moment we are in a war which the energy sector is going to increase for sure. If the sanctions go forward, we're going to have sequential increase on gas and on oil. So this is a stock to have on your portfolio. Last but not least, this week we're going to have Main Street Capital with a dividend yield of 6.19%. They went up quite a bit because of the stocks went down, and the ex-dividend is going to be on the March 1st. We're not going to have time to buy, but this is something that you need to have in your portfolio in order to buy for the next month, or even you can buy right now because you're going to receive on the next month. You not need to wait for the quarter. This week markets went quite down, but although the SP500 managed to recover 0.32%, the Nasdaq is 0.68%, and the Dow Jones was down with a 0.46%. European stocks went down around 2.66%, and UK stocks went up 0.08%. So that's why my portfolio didn't went so down this week, because of the Nasdaq, and also the UK stocks maintained my portfolio. Although I did have a lot of impact on the Chinese stock, which is Alibaba, went down quite a lot this week. If you're going to see this week by sectors, we're going to have XLI with a minus 2.7%, and being the most profitable sector this week is going to be the healthcare with an increase of 2.46%. So now let's have a look into the heat map and see what happened in the past week. So this week we have Apple being affected quite a lot with a minus 0.91%. With Microsoft increase, we had an increase of 2.64%, which is quite good. And Google as well. Facebook managed to increase, but although they went down almost 20% during the past week. So as I mentioned before, we have here the health sector with being quite positive with the overall of around 2%. The financial sector being a bit impacted. In terms of semiconductors, we have here Apple being quite impacted with a 1.91%, but we have a big increase on AMD with a 5.2% during this week, and Intel as well with a 5%. So now let's have a look into the market and see what projections we're going to have for this week on Bitcoin and on the SP500. In terms of the SP500, we're going to start to see some consolidation in place, but we may see a fall of 9.77% towards the $3,900 roughly, or the $4,000 roughly, since we are seeing an RSI showing the downside momentum. So we have here a downside momentum on the RSI. Therefore, we're going to see some downtrends for the next upcoming week, being our resistance of around $40,630 and the support around the $4,000, which is going to be around this value. In terms of the Bitcoin, we may see a fall of around 6,000 to 10,000 pips. We have a key resistance around the 42,000. We could have here a break below the 42,000 as a negative signal that we can see here. We still have a negative signal, and maybe open around the path of the 33,000 for the next week. Although I'm seeing here one day, but this is going to be the tendency for the next upcoming week as soon as the market will go down. And with all this war in Ukraine, the Bitcoin is going to be quite affected. So we may see some downfall to the 33,000 as the new support. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this week tips. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like. That's going to help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And once again, thank you, cheers, and see you next week.